Hello, hello. Welcome to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. I interview the top commercial real estate investors and industry experts so you can learn from their experiences. So if you're an investor, a high W-2 earner, or real estate or tech sales professional that wants to invest in real estate without having to manage properties or leave your day job, then this podcast is for you. Or if you're already investing in real estate, but you're doing it part-time and you want to become a full-time multifamily or full-time commercial real estate investor, this podcast is for you too. You're going to learn a ton. You will learn from real-life multifamily investors and other professionals in the industry. They're going to share their blueprints for success, and I'm super excited that you're here. So I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, hello. This is Abel Pacheco, your host for the Five Talents Podcast. We are super excited because we have another super amazing guest, Ahmed Seirafi. Ahmed, what's going on, sir?
Abel, man, happy to be here. Finally, we connected. I'm excited about it because we've talked for such a long time, but we never really connected. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. And for those listeners that are like, well, how did y'all talking a lot and not connected? If you haven't been on Clubhouse, you are missing out. Ask somebody with some kind of invite to get you on, because I've been meeting some really amazing people. Ahmed's one of them. He is just, a force to be reckoned with on the commercial real estate development side. He has a lot of knowledge, getting his really hands dirty, digging in the dirt with development, and you're going to see him pop up sooner than later all over the social. So that's the reason I say follow him. And I'm super happy to meet him before he kind of blows up on the exposure side, because you've been crushing it on the real estate side, my friend.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
well, let me turn it over to you. Please,
Yeah, no.
please give us a proper introduction. Tell us who you are and what you do in your own words.
Well, I'm just really excited to be here because, not to say anything, but Abel Pacheco, who is the gentleman here on this podcast with me, has interviewed some big time real estate professionals, including his good friend and golf buddy Grant Cardone. So it's just nice to be able to walk in those shoes and follow those greats in the podcast here. So, but my name is Ahmed Seirafi, Southern California based, born and bred real estate professional. I specialize in multifamily development, ground up type work. So, a little bit lighter on the investment side, but more heavy on the development side. So technically looking for land and opportunities and developments, and then just working it through the process to get them built and then to hold those for the long term. So definitely like playing in the dirt, happy to look for dirt, love walking through the dirt and getting that dirt under contract and doing something with it is what I like to do.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. And I'm humbled and appreciative you would share some time here, and we'll get this out to the world, get it out there. So start with this. Let everyone know, in my opinion, I think you should grab a pen and a piece of paper, because you want to take a lot of notes before we dig into the how and the what you do. Give us a high level rundown. How many projects have you been involved with? How many developments? We'll start there. First question.
I've been in this business for a little while. I straight out of college, I was in commercial real estate and brokerage, and I was assembling projects and developments on behalf of my clients since then. And so anything from real estate, industrial complexes, and new big box warehouse development, all the way through to my my work as a construction manager for a large commercial contractor, which we are involved in building high schools and colleges and university buildings and stuff like that. And then coming back full circle to take a business that was started between me and my father and I, and just growing that into and scaling it into a real, business that I can continue to grow and get bigger. But over the years, I've been involved in everything from a small single building development on 20,000 square feet for a 7-Eleven, all the way up to, 10 and 20 acre, commercial developments, including, warehouse buildings, a couple hundred units of apartments, and even $150 million high school that was a part of the construction team, and we built that as well. So everything from a 7-Eleven up to a high school, I've been involved with everything and everything in between. So, it's all about playing in the dirt. And just I just love it. I think I
Yeah.
found my calling, and I'm very happy to be here.
What was that's awesome, man. It's tremendous background. $150 million school. That must have been an undertaking. But what was your very first deal and what year was that? Or
Geez,
your first opportunity or project, however you want to call it.
all right. So my first project that I put together, and there's a pretty bad downside to it. I won't go into it, where I didn't make any money out of it, but I essentially put it together was, my first couple of years in commercial real estate as a broker, I was able to take an old manufacturing site over here in Southern California. It was all technically it was an old pickle factory. So they used to make pickles.
No
So
kidding.
yeah,
I
not an
love
old
it.
plastic pickle site. They left it. It was empty. The city was involved, and so what I was able to do is I was able to get the city involved, and then I was also able to get a developer to come in and redevelop that property. So it was kind of a partnership between the city and the developer that I brought together. And what they would do is they come into, I believe it was like 15 or 20 acre site, and the developer came in, purchased the property from the city, cleaned it up. I think there were some minor environmental issues involved with vinegars and salt cleaners and stuff they use
Yeah.
for making the pickles and stuff like that.
My
And
question was going to be, did it still smell like pickles when you got in there?
it did sound like pickles for a while, the vinegar, but after they got
Yeah.
rid of all that stuff and cleaned it up, it wasn't that much of a problem. And they came and they redeveloped the site and put 3 or 4 large industrial buildings on it, and they're still operating till today.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. What year was that?
geez, that must have been in the early 2000s. So I'd say maybe around 2003, 2004, something like
Cool.
that. Yeah.
Well, let me pause real quick because even on this first part, right?
Yep.
Ahmed, you said, I didn't really make a ton of money or any money on this deal. What you got out of it, what I heard was, you put together the city, which they needed to work with the developer. You pulled the things together, and I'm sure, learned a ton on this deal, which then set course for your second, third, fourth, however many deals. And a lot of people just stop at that first one, especially if they hit obstacles and challenges or make no money or maybe lose money. And how did you push through that project, saying, "Man, I didn't make any, but I'm going to keep going"?
Well, I mean, it was just, a general love for real estate and just creating things. So I guess it comes from being a kid and, having a love for Legos and just building things and putting things together and stuff like that. So if I had any opportunity to put something together, I was excited about it. So whether it was in college and I was putting together an event, or if it was in real estate, I was putting together a sale transaction or a development deal. It was just all about creating something from nothing and putting it together. So at the end of the day, you have a completed product, whether it's a
Yeah.
real estate or an event or some Legos, whatever it is, you completed something out of a bunch of pieces that you had to put together. So I really enjoyed that. That was really fun for me. So, whether it was commercial brokerage or project management or managing a construction company or doing this myself, I'm just happy to put things together. And then at the end of the day, it's just a full sense of satisfaction out of it. And now in real estate, it's even better because you can put things together and you can make some money off of it. And it's,
Yeah.
it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard earlier on a podcast, it was a podcast interview that I was recording. It was time, knowledge, money, and that 3 layers of, any kind of foundation or tripod. And if you can gain enough knowledge, and partner with other people with time or money, or any one of those 3 that you have, and if you can put it together, you can build a team with time, knowledge, and money. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a pretty simplified way, but I love partnering and kind of learning through the process. And so it's a great way that you tackled that, just to keep going, man. So this was 2003, 2004-ish, that
Yep.
earlier time. That was your first deal. How long was this redevelopment project? Was it 6 months, a year? Was it longer?
I think, I exited the company, but that project was still going on after I exited the company. But I think that whole project, it took a good 2 to 3 years from start to finish to get it going,
Yeah.
just because it wasn't a private partnership. But if it's a private, it moves a lot quickly. But now that you're involving a city and government and approvals and
Slow down.
hearings and going through the system, it takes a long time. And then once it moves through the system, you still got to go through the actual pre-development work, is site plans, permits, approvals, getting things signed off, and then moving through financing and and then going into construction, then sales and leasing. So it's a pretty long process, but
Yeah.
you know, unfortunately, you got a lot of, major metropolitan cities. Some are really easy to work with, some are not. And it just depends on where you are, because some projects will move fast through a city, and, you come in within a application and a project, and pretty soon it comes out the other end with the stamps and approval. And then some other projects in some cities will take years to get through there,
Yeah.
because everyone wants to have their say. Everybody wants to, put their stamp on it. Everybody wants to have their voice, even the community groups. So sometimes things take forever, and you just got to learn how to work through that and be a problem solver. Everyone in real estate says, hey, real estate professionals are problem solvers, and that's true. And the person who can come up with the most solutions and work through the most problems does better than the most, I would think.
I 100% agree. I think the obstacles and challenges and things that arise, and if you could just take those in stride and say, yes, they are going to always occur, and the person that can come up with the solutions or get creative enough of a way, and then just keep moving forward, right? If that doesn't work, okay, let's try the next one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's awesome to hear, Ahmed. Okay, so that first project, few years is going. What happened over the next, let's take us to 2003, 2004 to 2000, 6 or 7. The next few years, was there a series of projects, like just high level? How many were there, and what happened?
Yeah, over the next few years, there wasn't a whole lot. I actually, left the company. I was doing brokerage on my own, just working out of my home, and then also helping start and grow the family business, which I'm, that I in charge of now, and just getting those first few investments going and started. So those were, it's almost like a reset, kind of started all over. I was still doing my commercial brokerage, and then we're out purchasing, going from the family business, which we're in the gas station business, and selling that, and going into investing in multifamily, and then going out and also purchasing some land sites for some development opportunities as well. So the next few years was kind of like a reset and restart, and starting to pivot into that multifamily and development direction, coming from
Yeah.
the commercial side. Yeah.
Yeah. So your profession, and then your personal, the investing, and then family business,
Yeah.
everything was kind of merging together, is what it sounds like.
It was, to a certain extent. Yeah. It was also like a full pivot, but you were coming into that pivot with a lot of experience and a lot of,
Yeah.
relationships and knowledge as well. So it was a good pivot for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then, as you continue to do that, take us through 2005 to 2010, right? Just
Yeah.
really quickly, how did that look for you?
So those were involved with, buying a couple projects out in Arizona, right before the crash. So back then, buying multifamily is pretty inexpensive out there, and it was just, the start of the upswing for the Phoenix market. So made a few good purchases out there, did really well, held those on for the long term. Just sold one project a year ago. Still have another project that is out there that's still being continued to manage and produce a really good cash flow. And then learning that market, because that's one of the markets I'm looking to expand in as we
Yeah.
speak. So
If you bought in Phoenix, Arizona in 2005 to 2010, you just sold one and you're holding on another, man, you crushed the multifamily space, right?
oh yeah, the one we bought in 2005 or 6, I think it was.
Yeah.
We sold last year, and I think we bought it for like 5.4,
Mhm.
and we sold it for right around 20. And that's including 2 cash out refis along the way.
Oh
So
man. For those listeners, if you're a passive investor or an active investor, let me break some of the stuff down that we talked about with Ahmed. So Ahmed's developing. He's going through after college, working for somebody, and learning all the way through this process, and really getting his knowledge. Well, and then the investing side, putting a deal together, buying it. If you, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, well, I bought it at 5 and I sold it for 20 million. Really, I'm imagining you didn't pay $5 million cash either. So it was a leveraged deal. So
yeah, you sold. My dad had a gas station for many years. Sold the gas station for like 900, and then went and bought that property for 5.4. And the down payment was, we took the 900 plus another little bit of savings, so the down payment was like $1 million or $1.2 million.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. And he bought the gas station he sold for 900. I'm sure with leverage, a down payment.
Oh,
What year was that? Can you just at a high level, your dad's
the
investment?
the gas station.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
he's had it for like 30 or 40 years. This was his career. That's
Okay.
back in the day when they're giving gas stations out to anybody who would just run them. You know what I mean? You just run it,
Yeah.
we'll give it to you. So, and just give us the commission to the gasoline company. So yeah.
So, let's, just this one deal. There's all these other transactions that Ahmed's done, but, I asked a couple questions and let's, just think about this because some people that are listening or watching, whichever one, you're on right now, you may hear, oh man, if I could just find a $5 million deal and in 10, 15 years, it turns to 20. However, your dad took the time, effort, energy, like you said, his life's kind of work then, all those years, and sold it for 900 grand. And that was the down payment, the $1 million down payment
Yeah.
that turns into a $5 million building that then 15 years becomes a $20 million deal. And, most people miss that stuff. They just want the end result and they
Yeah.
want it quickly.
I mean, that 20 million was technically 30 or 40 years in the making because it took 30 years to come up with that one initial down payment to get things started. But that's still doable even though the market is hot. This was back when Phoenix was just up and coming, and there's a lot of those up and coming markets right now to look at. I mean, it doesn't have to be Phoenix or Arizona or Las Vegas or Dallas. It could be definitely a bunch 12 other markets across the country that are in that same place right now, but you just got to do the work. You got to
Yeah.
get online, read the reports, watch the migration trends, look at retirement trends, stuff like that, and just see where the markets are trending. It takes work, you know what I mean, to find stuff like that, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah. In 1950, I bet anybody that was an investor was wishing that they invested in New York in
Oh yeah.
1920s. And I bet you in the 70s, they were saying the same thing about looking back in the 50s and the 80s and the 2000s and 2020. I have a feeling people are going to say the same thing in 2050, 2040. I wish I was investing in 2021.
Right.
And
No.
it's just going to continue this way, but you just got to start like wherever you're at, just get started, and that's how I think this $5 million, deal came to 20 and it came into fruition. It's like Ahmed said, that's 30 to 40 years in the making. And,
Yep.
anyways, I don't want to get lost on this
No.
one single deal. You've done so much, but it's important. I want to point that out. So, okay. So that was pretty slick.
Yeah.
Now help us 2010 to 2015. Let's just take these in 5-year chunks. How did your career progress? You've got a lot of experience now. You've done some deals. You've been an investor. You're managing money. Yada yada yada. Tell us how. Tell us 2010 to 2015 at a high level.
So right then, I was working on my own, and then working with my father as well, and developed a couple small buildings locally here in Southern California on some pieces of land. A strip mall, small retail office buildings, stuff like that. And then the business kind of got to a point where it was kind of stabilized, and so at that point, I had an opportunity to go and manage a construction company that a friend of mine owned, and he was looking to get out of the business, and then he invited me to come in and to be a part of his business and to run the business for him as he was trying to transition out. So that's where I got involved with the construction and working on public projects with the school districts and local community college districts, and the cities and counties that had a lot of public work. So I was able to come in and manage that company as well as be a part of some of these really big development projects that needed a big team. So a lot of good experience there because I knew how to build on my own. But now that I'm building things that are huge and being a part of a large team and learning the structures and the process and the procedures that it really takes to run a very large project versus smaller, projects that you can do on your own. And it was really, really an eye-opening learning experience that I really am grateful for, because now, because of that, I know the process and the procedures and the team members and the scheduling and the needs that are needed to to build, 25, 50, $100 million projects, and how to kind of work through that, because it looks very daunting, and it really is. But if you break it down into the smallest pieces and you're able to put the right team together and everyone is responsible, you're able to take all those pieces and put them together to accomplish something really good. But it's all about creating that team that's has the same focus as you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Some people that reach out to me, ask me for help, ask me how I'm doing. There's a lot of people that think that we're because maybe because of we're public images or whatever, however you want to think about it. They're saying, how did you do that? And I go, I didn't do anything. We did something together. This is how we did it. And I think that's a big part. If I had to say I did something, I try to leverage other people that have really great expertise and knowledge and put them on our team, or try to be a part of their team. And that's how I did it. So it sounds very much the same. Can you give us a just a quick one or two things, biggest differences you experienced between a 5, 10, $20 million development and $100 million plus development? Couple things that are maybe likes and differences.
Differences definitely the team, because on a small project, fight even $1 to $5 million, you and a partner, or you and an assistant could probably do that pretty easily. You know what I mean? It's a $5 million project is not that big if you know your real estate, your construction and stuff like that. I mean, a $5 million project is technically a gas station and a car wash. That's a $5 million project. It's not huge, and you can definitely run it. Now, when you're getting into these projects that are 50, 100, and $150 million, definitely it's the team, and it's all about having the team hierarchy, who reports to who's responsible for what, and then everyone coming together to make sure that schedule stays on time, because you need your superintendents to run the field, and those field superintendents need to schedule the subcontractors and the deliveries and stuff like that, so nothing's all jumbled and everything coming at the one time. And then you need your project management team to make sure that the subcontractors are getting paid and things are staying on schedule, and deadlines are being met, and it's like coordination. And then in the back office, you need people to manage and watch the financial aspect of it, because there's money coming and going and things like that. So it's definitely making sure that team comes together and everybody is responsible, and then having someone at the top, like an air traffic controller, which is a project manager, your project executive, whatever you may want to call it, making sure that everyone is doing their job and they're staying on track with that. So that's definitely a big part of the smaller projects versus the bigger projects that I've learned.
Yeah. I came from a different background, much different background than yours. I guess all of us are different from backgrounds, but I had some experience in IT and tech, and I took our team developed a $5 million a year business to a $57 million business. And that was my organization, or our team that we led. There was like 60 of us, and we grew it from like 12 to, 20, 30, 40, 60, right? So we did well there. And our company went from $100 million to about a $2 billion company before, the company sold and went public and all that stuff. And I realized as I was going through this run, I was there for about 10 years. It felt like we were working for about 5 or 6 different companies at different years. Startup when I got there, 2006, 2008, we did go public, 2000, whatever. We just kept, scaling and scaling. And it amazes me the power of a team. If everyone's driving on the same vision, the same mission, you have the right culture, the right crew together, you guys can, build $150 million projects, and just with the power of everyone's, mind and willingness to just keep going. Right. It's amazing. It's inspiring.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I know Donald Trump is a big developer, and you got guys like Sam Zell and Related and all these equity guys. They are just one part of a big team. They may be the head of the team, but without really good members, those guys will get nowhere. And I'll be honest, I'll get nowhere without a really good team myself. I could be the smartest, most amazing real estate professional in the world, but without a good team, I'm not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I got to recognize that for sure.
That's awesome. Great insight. And thank you for sharing, Ahmed. Hello. You're listening to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you're serious about achieving financial freedom. Are you ready to create your own path through multifamily investing for yourself and your family? Then I know you're going to appreciate our Investor's Guide to Multifamily Investing. It's titled Tackling Commercial Real Estate the Easy Way. We use this guide to invest ourselves in $93 million worth of real estate. So we're going to show you the basic mechanics of multifamily syndications and how to evaluate your next passive investment opportunity. So the best part, if you subscribe to our podcast now, leave us a review and a rating. I'm going to give you a free copy of our ebook. So please take a moment to do that now. Once you've done that, go to 5tcre.com/ebook, 5tcre.com/ebook. Make sure to let us know you left a review and we're going to send you a free copy. So thank you so much for subscribing to the Five Talents Podcast. We really appreciate it. So let's keep going, right? Till to 2020, 2021. Like maybe give us the last few projects that you've been doing and where you're headed now. Let's talk about this. This is awesome, man. I'm inspired, excited. I'm humbled. I'm grateful. All those things just to meet you at this stage in your career. This is awesome. So go ahead.
Well, right now, I think it's like, as I hope to see it is like, I'm lighting the fuse under the rocket ship that we've been building for years and years. Now it's time to take off and really go. So my father has, exited the business a few years ago. And so now I'm, managing in the direction and the growth of the business now. So it's just all on my shoulders as well. It's a family office. So I'm responsible to a lot of people to make sure that this goes in the right direction, this grows, and this, becomes profitable as well. So the last couple of years, we've been trying to position things where we sold one property and the one we spoke about a few minutes ago, and we are using that as the cash reserves to go and start developing some of these other projects we've been pursuing. So right now it's kind of two-faceted, or actually three-faceted. Currently pursuing a handful of express car wash models, which is kind of like a spin-off of the gas stations that we've been in for all our lives. And that's good for cash flow. That's good for daily operations. That's good as the financial engine of the business, right? At the same time, pursuing a couple larger scale developments of multifamily properties. Right now, got 300 units in the Inland Empire that is going through some planning difficulties, but we'll get through it. Negotiating on another site for another 200 units right now as we speak. And then I have another site that's available for another 300 units, but I think I may entitle and sell that because it's a project I don't really want to tackle just because of the infrastructure difficulties on that one. And at the same time, also looking for, like we talked about a few minutes ago, is that pipeline. Real estate is like throwing mud at the wall. You got to constantly throw mud at the wall, because some of it's going to stick, but a lot of it's going to fall off. So you got to constantly put that pipeline and keep it going, because I don't want to end up in a couple of years from now and all my construction is done and I got to start from scratch. So now I'm looking for new development opportunities, looking for land, going out to Arizona, looking for land out there because the California climate is so difficult. Maybe looking at the Las Vegas market because it's growing, but it's getting to a point where it's constricted because of the mountain ranges that surround Las Vegas. Las Vegas is going to run out of land soon, so you got to get on it now. Same with Arizona and the Phoenix market. And then even looking beyond that, maybe at a 10-year plan, looking at maybe Dallas or other metropolitan areas in the Sunbelt states, because right now all the baby boomers are retiring, and I'm trying to focus on 55 plus active senior communities, not anything retirement orientated or assisted living, but active seniors, people who still drive, they still work, they still live their lives, and try and focus on those communities as people downsize or they're empty nesters and they're, looking for something more manageable or something smaller that they want to get into for the rest of their years. So that's definitely what I'm focused on. So it's the express car washes, which are the financial generators, the current development, which have a couple projects that are pushing 1,000 units, and then looking for those land opportunities for the 5 years and plus. And I'm trying to reformulate that business plan. I was thinking, hey, I want to build 1,000 units over the next 10 years. And I'm thinking, well, why not double that? And why don't I do 1,000 units over the next 5 years? It can be done. You got to,
Yeah.
as long as you put that right team together, though, you got to have that team, because you can't do it yourself.
Yeah, I love it. I like the play and the thought process of cash today,
Yep.
or investing for cash today, as the even though you're investing in it, you're investing for your cash flow, and then you're looking for the long-term plays to go develop, and then building the empire just kind of strategically. It's awesome. Just even hearing it. No, that's great,
Yeah.
man.
Well, I mean, you got cash makes things happen. So you got to make sure you have that day job or that side hustle or whatever it is that brings in that cash that allows you to start building for the generational wealth, as everyone likes to talk about, or for your retirement, or for your, for your children or your children's children and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, it's amazing. I'm super excited. God bless you and your family and everything that
Thank
you're
you, brother.
doing, and
Appreciate
just
that.
keep doing the thing, and a lot of success for you in the future.
Thank you,
So,
man.
yeah, absolutely. So, if you can share, I think our audience is a couple of different people, active investors. I want to go do what you're doing, Ahmed. Either I want to develop, or I want to go buy. I want to go do that. There's active, and then there's passive. The passive investors are, I want to learn a little bit more about what y'all are doing, and I'm looking for my next passive investment to get into. So we've got a split, I believe, and you as both active and what it sounds like an investor, can you share any insight you can on investing in general? Like, what, you've managed millions, it sounds like, probably more. If you can just share with us, like, how do you view investing your dollars into either other people's projects or good investments, or just any of the knowledge, because you're in a position that I'm not in. We've got our first one, and I'm trying to make 2 and 4 and 8, and get to that situation. So any insight you can have, on this, let me leave it broad and open for a
Yeah.
reason.
No, that's a good question. I mean, that this is a discussion we can go into for the next couple hours. But if you're looking to get into the real estate business, you're looking to invest either actively or passively, you got to remember one thing. Real estate's a long game. If you're looking to get in for quick money, then you go flip a house, or you go do some hard money lending where you get a return every 3 to 6 months. And that's if you want the fast cash. Go flip, go lend hard money, get those high interest rates, etc. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a perfectly good real estate strategy. But if you want the long-term appreciation, the long-term wealth, you got to remember real estate's the long game. You got to ride those ups and those downs. Like, that Phoenix property, we bought it in an 0506. But 2009, 2010, we were eating dirt. It was hard to keep that property going, but we pushed through it, and look at where we are now with that. So remember, it's a long game. You're looking for those long-term appreciations, those long-term cash flows. That's what real estate is. So if you want to get into investing, you invest with somebody that has a mindset that's aligned with yours. So if they're looking at the long-term upside and the long-term appreciation, the long-term growth, that's great. Just make sure you have the patience for that. And then if you want to get into the development game, and if you want to look at the getting into that part of the business, you got to remember that it's not rocket science, but you just got to do your work.
Yeah,
Do the
yeah.
work, check off the boxes, make sure you go through the paces and ask questions, because that's what people's there for. I mean, building a house or a fourplex or a small apartment property or a small commercial building, it is not rocket science. But as long as you go through the process and you check off the boxes, you'll come out good on the other side. So definitely do the homework, and then remember, if you're looking to invest or develop, especially with develop, it will it takes a while. It's like throwing it at the wall. You're not going to get a deal or an opportunity every day. You got to do the work. Get out of the house, get in the car, drive, look for those opportunities. Because if you're going to try and develop from behind a computer screen, and hopefully you find something on the listing service or LoopNet, hey, maybe 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 do that. But you got to get out in the field. You got to drive. You got to look for opportunities. You got to talk to people and make those relationships, like Abel and I have done on Clubhouse.
Mm. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ahmed. This is, it's very insightful, very enlightening, just, and hearing your steps, right? the way you're investing, the way you think about it, the team building, the networking, getting out there a little bit, it sounds so simple. And I think some people outside looking in would say it can't be that easy,
Yeah.
but
It's it it is and it isn't.
okay.
It's easy, but it just takes work.
Yep.
Yeah.
The process is simple. It
Yeah.
it is actually that, but
It's
it's the quantity, the quality, the effort, the years, the persistence. Like when you say, I'm going to drive around, they're like, I've driven around a lot of times, but I have a feeling you put a ton of miles on your cars.
yeah.
And hearing you speak about it on Clubhouse, it's like, oh, I'm going to take a different way home every single time, and I'm going to find a different flow of traffic, and I'm going to find a spot. And I bet you're very intentional about it. And then I'm imagining when you get home, hey, let me document some of this stuff, and here's what I saw, and then go find the information. And it's not always easy, but it's very simple.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many sticky notes and pieces of paper I write down addresses and locations on all the time, voicemails to myself, all sorts of things. And you'll go through those, and 9 times out of 10 there may not be a deal there, but you know you start to learn the market, you start to learn the growth patterns, you start to see opportunities, you start seeing what everyone else is building or developing or investing in. Because if you take the same freeway and the same off ramp and the same street home every day, or to the market, or to your job, or your kid's school, you're never going to see what's going on out there. You're just going to see the same thing every day, and that's going to be the your downfall. So don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Thank you very much for sharing. And
Yeah.
this has been an amazing conversation, brother. So let me, before I forget, let me just say, well, thank you. That's obvious, but for anybody trying to reach out to you, where should they go connect to you, or how do do you engage, and who do you actually want to reach out to you?
It's I do my best to respond to all the messages I get a lot of messages, and I do my best to get through to those. But the best way of doing it right now is either getting on Clubhouse. Start coming to my room. I host a room 3 days a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, where we do real estate development 101. We just really
That's awesome.
break down the whole process to very easy and understandable pieces, so we can really learn and prepare ourselves with those basic building blocks to build ourselves up to having that knowledge that we need to get into the business. So that's find me on Clubhouse, Ahmed
Well,
Seirafi,
yeah.
real estate development 101, three days a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And also find me on Instagram, because I like to put a lot of construction and development knowledge out there, just to continuously educate not only myself but everyone else. And you can find me at Ahmed the real estate developer, and I'm very active on Instagram, and that's a good place to catch up with me there as well.
What's your handle on Clubhouse?
Clubhouse is just Ahmed Seirafi, so it's
Okay.
my first and last name. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I've been spending a ton of time on Clubhouse as
Yeah.
well. Why do you spend so much time on Clubhouse? Why do you do that?
It's because it's able to allow me to laser focus on the connections with people in our business. It's very easy to connect with people who are doing the same thing that we're doing, or having the same mindset or the same goals and aspirations. Like Abel, I would have never ever have met you in a million years
I know.
if it wasn't for Clubhouse. But now I have a good friend in Texas that
Hmm.
I can connect with, I can collaborate with, I can have conversations with, I can share best practices, and we can both grow together
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
have those good real estate conversations and family conversations, because our mindsets are aligned, our desires and our excitement about real estate are aligned. And then at the same time, we'll probably collaborate more together than we would ever compete with each other. And
Hmm.
it's just, I would love to see Abel grow and all these other people grow as well, because it's not competition with me, it's collaboration. And it
Yeah.
just fits, all the pieces come together really well that way. And it's just really great to meet people that have the same mindset and the same goals that you do, because it's like you're walking into a room and everybody in that room you're best friends with, because you just click on so many levels.
Yeah, yeah, that's so sincere, so awesome, so genuine. I think those are amazing things. I mean, like I love networking. I love meeting people. I love meeting even more people that talk about the same stuff that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And especially now, during COVID, my wife has me on lockdown pretty much. And so I've got to figure out a different way. And this was like an amazing way for me
Oh,
to
yeah.
meet others, give back, get some education, all those things. And you've hit so many things, nail on the head, brother. And I might be dating myself, but that old show, Cheers, it was Sam Malone and some other guys I remember as a kid, and they would all say Norm walking in I kind of feel like that a little bit on Clubhouse, like, oh, Abel's here. I'm here guys, thanks a lot. So
No, isn't that
awesome,
great?
man.
It's so great. I mean, it's just like walking into a room of all your best friends, and everyone wants to talk about the same thing, and everyone's excited about the same thing, and it's just like, hey, this is perfect,
Anyways, that's so awesome. Follow me on Clubhouse too. It's at Abel Pacheco. You can check out our Instagram. We're trying to update that a lot. At Abel J Pacheco, so you can follow that stuff. I got a new Instagram team. I was the old man, so we're doing live on Facebook, and I was Facebook forever, and then Clubhouse came out, and the only way to connect is Insta. Yep. So I hired an amazing team. If anybody needs help on that too, let me know. I'll refer you to a great team. But yeah, Ahmed, this has been awesome. Is there anything I didn't ask about, didn't touch on, something you wanted to bring some exposure to, something that we just didn't cover that you wanted to share today?
Not really. I mean, this was great. I just love having the conversation with you, but just anyone out there who's really wanting to get into this and, really are intentional about this. I know many of the people watching, want to, and then, very few small percentage will actually take the action and take the steps to do it. But whatever you do, you can always do better. And that's something I do every time I'm on a project or I am working on something. I know that I can do better. So I take that extra 1%, 2% more than everyone else to do better. A better design, a better flow, better functionality, better something, even a better way of making sure that your subcontractors build to the best of their ability. Just do better. It's easy. It won't cost you anything, and you can always do it.
I love it. Thank you very much. Ahmed, this has been awesome. I'm super excited. I know some people got a lot of value from the show. So if you did, reach out to Ahmed on Insta.
Yeah.
Go follow him on Clubhouse. Go to that 101 room. It's fire. If you can break away for your day, just break away a little bit and go do it. It's going to be an amazing way to network and learn and get some education. And follow us on our podcast, Apple Podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and leave us a written review. That stuff really helps. We've gotten a ton of good reviews so far. We started just last year, and I think we're at like 80, 90 written reviews and nice. A bunch of 5-star reviews. I haven't seen a 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. So I'm going to try to keep it that way. So thank you for the 5-star ratings. We appreciate everybody, and go reach out to Ahmed. Ahmed, thank you very much.
Thank you, Abel. And leave that 5-star review. Do it.
Get it on. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 5 Talents Podcast with your host, myself, Abel Pacheco. Each week, we're going to bring you interviews from industry experts and commercial real estate investors who follow their dreams and achieve massive success. Before you leave, let me ask you a few questions. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn something valuable? Was your mind stretched to what's possible and what you can achieve? Do you want other experts just like the one you heard today? If you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then please take a moment to subscribe to the 5 Talents Podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and most importantly, leave us a written review. Tell us what you liked, tell us your favorite guest, give us any feedback. I'm excited to learn and improve so you can get a more valuable show. So thank you again for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast.